2026. It's 5 p.m. Central Time. I'd ask Dan Sargent to lead us in prayer.
All right. Our Father, this afternoon we just come before you asking a blessing on our time together, meeting around the city business and continuing to look to you. We just thank you for wisdom. We just ask your blessing on our first responders and police and those that worked through this recent storm. And we thank you for your protection of our community and continue to watch over us through that. And we just ask your blessing from those north of us that didn't fare so well, and we just commit them to you, and those that are suffering and lost loved ones. And we just commit the business of the town to you this afternoon and pray that you'd help us to do that which is the best for everyone and continue to be mindful of your leading. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Present.
Here.
Here.
You've received the minutes of the previous meeting in your packets. I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Just let me make a brief announcement. We're having tonight's meeting because obviously last Monday was canceled due to weather, so that's why we're having this meeting. The regular February meeting will be February 23rd, the last Monday of the month. Citizens' comments. Those citizens wish to be heard at this time?
Can I do it from here?
Sure.
I just want to thank, I don't know who on the staff did it, but on Laurel Lake, they have put reflectors on the poles, and I know it will help us when it fogs. Thank you.
I'll address that a little later. Thank you. Any other citizens wish to be heard at this time? Now's the time. Yes?
I got a concern here about the police officer. Here are some police officers. And we got one, I know one here that is dangerous to our community. And he's got a bad temper. If he ever pulls over somebody that resists anything or does anything, Monteagle will be in a lot of trouble. And he lied on oath at Grundy County out here at the courthouse. And I don't think he needs to be employed here no more. Way he, lied about Monteagle and everything come out of his mouth was a lie. And we still working him here, and everybody knows it. So I think we need to do something with him, or do something with his boss too for letting it go on. If it don't, he's a hothead. He's going to end up shooting or killing somebody, and it's going to be a bad deal. So
I'll be happy to go over that with the chief and report back to you so we can conclude this ongoing discussion. I understand what you're saying. I know there have been issues. I did not look into it firsthand. I will with the chief and other agencies to see what's going on.
yeah, I mean, it ain't over yet, y'all. I mean, y'all better do something with him before something bad happens. I mean, him do something, somebody he pulls over. Well, I mean, not me, somebody he pulls over. I mean, you can't be like that being a police officer.
Understood.
It ain't hearsay. You got too many proof, and you got too many proof at Grundy County where he lied on the witness stand, and that's perjury. I mean, what if he does something here and lies on y'all? It's perjury. It'll be a bad deal. It's already a bad deal. We already got a bad deal, and we need to straighten it up.
All right, I'll look into that and get back to you personally.
Thank you.
Are there any other citizen comments wish to be heard at this time? Okay. my communications, there's just one basically, and it's praising our city workers. I don't know how much you are aware of the around-the-clock manning of the fire department that was done during the storm and inclement weather. The police department covering shifts regardless of the road conditions and weather. The sewer plant and water plant personnel kept all those pumps going, holding their breath that we did not lose power. Fortunately, in praise to Sequatchie Valley Electric, we had power, and we're a lot more fortunate than our neighbors to the north. From Nashville to the Kentucky line to the Northeast corridor. It's, some people say we dodged the bullet, and we're very thankful. So just keep in mind the dedication that our city employees have, especially in time of crisis. So my thanks to the department heads that are here, and please tell your volunteers and workers that we appreciate their efforts. Street reflectors I'll talk about later. The Planning Commission meets tomorrow, 4 o'clock here. And as I say, the February Mayor and Alderman meeting will be February 23rd, which is that last Monday of the month at 5 o'clock. So for now, that concludes my comments. Let's start with reports. Police Department.
Good afternoon, citizens of Monteagle Board.
Good afternoon.
These numbers are from December 15th to January 15th. I'll just go down the line here. We had 1 DUI for the month, 2 domestic calls, 3 drug-related calls, 2 trespassing calls, 1 stolen vehicle that was recovered and returned back to the victim. We had 33 traffic stops for the month, wrote 12 citations, 21 warnings. Call volume was 459, which was up from the previous month of 352. We had 1 vehicle crash for the whole month, which was down because it was 10 the month before.
Okay. Alderman, you have any questions of the police chief?
The status of the assault rifles?
They are being built. Currently, they're being constructed. I will have you at the end of this month on the information you asked for as far as what the dollar amount for the trade-in was going to be, or if we were going to sell them outright. I'll have that for you at the end of this month.
Okay. Yeah, I think I had mentioned that we wanted to have a licensed gun dealer to look at
Correct.
and give an appraisal.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah, you'll have 3 of them.
Any other questions or comments of the report? Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Fire Department?
No, I was saying thank you, Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We've had 34 fire calls for the month of January, 8 medical calls that we ran. The fire department successfully transitioned to from the old state required incident reporting system to the new NEAR system. This was a big push on the state, so this has all been taken care of. We were all up to date on all of our reports. The EMR program's been running smoothly. We've been working aside with EMS. We've not had any hiccups in it. We've been pretty productive with it and pretty responsive for our community, so I'm pretty happy with all of that. And we've got the guys ready to do their annual EVOC. It comes up mid to end February, their annual EVOC training, so that'll get their certifications for another year for emergency vehicles. Don't have much to report on fire side. That's about all I've got on it.
So you've certainly been covering a lot of calls and manning the station. So again, thank you
and
for
thanks
that.
to the volunteers. These guys covered for the inclement weather. I had 24-hour staffing from Friday till Sunday. We purchased them some food. We cooked meals up there for them that come out of the volunteer account. That's kind of a side account that the community gives us donations and stuff on. So the guys, I mean, they handled the whole run. So I was very proud of them. So,
Thank you for that.
Codes enforcement, I'm going to give AJ's report because he shook my hand and said he'd give me $20 to read 2 sentences, so I'm going to cut him out. Codes enforcement, there was 2 property owners that appeared before City Court for property maintenance issues. Both has been issued a continuance by Judge Rain. We also have 1 active property maintenance violation. I think that's over on Forest Point Road waiting remediation. They're working on that. AJ's been communicating with the crew that's helping clean up over there. So hopefully that'll go. And I'm going to throw on the last line on the building inspection report, there's 2 residential properties that's being cited for municipal hearing for condemnation. Those 2 properties is over on Winston behind the cemetery. A couple old houses over there that we're going to try to put on the building side and get condemnation hearings for it and see if we can get the houses removed. So I'm going to put that up on the code side. Codes questions, I believe we had a complaint from a community member that there was some plastics and stuff on builders' fence. I'll address that tomorrow with builders and talk to Mike. Mike, who's pretty responsive on stuff, so that's been noted. Any other things that we can do for you?
Do any of you have any questions of these reports?
What was the reasoning behind the issue of continuance for the 2 property owners that were before city court?
So judge gives them, I mean, we usually go out and work with them and come up with a POCA, a plan with corrective action for them. Normally it's just kind of, we play it by how responsive they are. I mean, some of them has, health struggles or whatever. So as long as they're working to do something, we note improvements, we'll try to work with them. And that's kind of the way the judge is doing too. AJ went out before the court date. We told them that they were going to court, so they went to court. And AJ presented that there was some cleanup efforts being done on both of the properties, and Judge Raines, AJ asked for a continuance. Judge issued a continuance on to the next court date.
Okay. So that's just, the continuance is just for showing progress?
Yeah, just basically a courtesy of progress.
All right, thanks.
Any update on the ladder truck?
Why'd you do this?
What?
So the ladder truck, the last I was told was January, February.
I did it because Doreen's here.
Yes.
All right, what else is there?
That's it.
We're gonna talk about the mountain end.
Yeah, we'll go on to the building. Any more on the code stuff? So let's go on to building inspections. There are 3 inspections completed, 2 certs of occupancies issued. The Mountain End case, I told y'all last month that case was coming before a hearing. This is the first ever case that's ever come through Monteagle City for a hearing on condemnation and demolition. So there had to be some legal stuff done, there had to be some paperwork done. That stuff has since been done. The alderman received an email to review it. I'm going to put the ball in y'all's court. But I'd like to get the paperwork served on them and get a hearing presented to you and move forward on that. If we can get something approved for you, we'll get them served this week.
I'll accept the motion to grant the building inspector the authority to move forward on that case.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to concur with, I think this is probably more of a resolution than a motion, but yeah, that we concur with the documents that Travis has put together and for him to move forward with authority.
Is there a second to accepting the resolution?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on the matter? We need a roll call.
So the next step would be to schedule this hearing, and then they'll be served notice on the
Yes.
hearing, and they'll come and talk to us.
So per our, you can kick me, I don't remember our code number where it specifies that the mayor and aldermen, the hearing board, city attorney will sit in to represent the town side, and I'll present the case on behalf of the inspection side for the town in violation. There'll be a case or a hearing date scheduled. I've got, I think it's 10 to 30 days of compliance to get the hearing held with the property owner. That's basically all. Then they'll have a writ of service served by myself and the police department signed off on that. There will be returned to the court if they were served on that. They still have a chance to appeal our hearings. Once they go through it, they can file the appeal in the Chancery Court of Grundy County. So, and then we go on down the line from there.
Do they know this is coming?
No, I've not said anything, but I'm making it public, so we've waited over a year for it.
Yeah.
Was this brought up in city court, the last city court?
Yes, it was. So city court brought this before Judge Raines, city court. If I remember, I don't remember the exact number. It was about $3,500, $3,800. The city court had assessed a fine on them, and it was basically for violation of property maintenance is what they've been cited for.
Up to date, as of the last court
As of the
date?
last court date, yes. So he's current on that. There's nothing else the judge can hear in city court. Now we have to move forward to us for a hearing to go on to demolition since there's been no positive action.
So the property owners have taken no action whatsoever since the last?
You can move the trucks around the sandbox, but they're still in the sandbox.
Well, I just noticed, looks like there's more mattresses piled up back there on the
It's
corner.
getting worse.
It does look like some activity is
Yes.
occurring, whether it's improving or.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other things?
Well, there's a resolution on the table that's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is passed. It is not an ordinance, it's a resolution. Okay. Anything else, Chief?
I'm through.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Parks and Recreation, I think we'll get a report from Dean later on that. Is that correct?
Well, not on Parks and Recreation. I was gonna talk about the veterans.
Well, that would be in the park, so if you
Yeah,
don't mind,
but
we'll
I
put that off till then. Utility Manager, John, you have anything?
I don't have nothing but say, do.
Anyone have any questions of the Utility Manager?
Well, we're gonna talk about some of that, didn't we have a contract or something to look at on, the task order that's under new business?
That's under new business.
Can I suggest we go ahead and work through that while John is here? That way we've got questions he can answer and he doesn't stay the whole time.
It's fine with me. I think he needs to be here when we discuss it.
There may be other, well, you should be here for the discussion, but there may be other matters that come up, but that's up to you all. If you want to put it in the agenda to do it now, we can.
What do y'all think? Were you planning to stay for the whole meeting, John?
That's what I have to.
Well, if you're okay with that, we skip to it?
Yeah, all right. We will take up under new business the task order for sludge removal that we've discussed several times. Basically, while Nate is looking, we have an outside contractor that removes sludge, which is required from our sewer department. That is getting more and more costly, to the point where maybe the cost that we pay, which used to be once a month, is now twice a month, and some recommendations as we may need that service 3 times a month. It becomes economically feasible to buy the machine to do it ourselves.
Just as a correction, it's
So
three times a year, not a
3
month.
times a year, I'm sorry, not a month, thank you. So with all that in mind, that's what prompted this discussion of removing the sludge from the sewer plant. So anyone want to chime in? Let's go.
I just want to make sure that, talking to the guys down at the sewer plant, they want to make sure that the screw press that they're talking about, that Travis Wilson was talking about was going to actually do the job with our system, match up well with our systems. There are some screw presses that won't work for our whole system over there. So they wanted to make sure, they wanted to see it in action, and they were supposed to come up last Friday, maybe, or maybe it's this coming Friday. They were going to come up and do a demonstration. The company that has the screw press was going to come up and do a demonstration. I just want to make sure before we move forward with purchasing anything or turning on LJL completely to buy the screw press and do all the design for it, that we get the thumbs up from the operators over there at our plant that this particular screw press is actually going to work with our system. They had some concerns about that they subtly voiced in the meeting that we had, and I'm reiterating it based on conversations that I've had with them afterward.
Well, I understand, but I don't think we'd buy anything that didn't work. The demonstration has yet to be scheduled. I think this is to proceed with what we do need, so we can get the right piece of equipment demoed.
This is proceeding with what?
This is just design
This is design.
and scoping.
Okay.
This is not,
It's preliminary design and coordination, maximum, it says cost plus, maximum hourly, $95.50 surveying, which they say they have to have is, but design and specifications, $58,550. And I assume, Grant, your point is, we can approve the contract perhaps subject to them not green-lighting the design and specifications until we do our in-house.
Yeah, there's no reason in going down the road of $78,000 of design if this is not the right screw press. So I just want to make sure that we understand that we need to get, before we spend any money, we need to get the thumbs up from the guys at the plant. after they get the demonstration done.
Okay.
It's my understanding, Mayor, that this is, that there's a agreed order for the sewer plant for us being in violation of something that this press will take care of. Is that correct?
Yes, it's part of the consent order that they're working on. I will not sign the task order until we coordinate the demonstration and meet with the plant operators.
And just this part with the engineers and related expenses is $96,750, and of which then the cost, the whole project cost is around $1 million, 900,000.
Yes, the equipment we're putting in for, and we're meeting, as you know, with the bond representative, we're putting in for $1 million to cover the purchase of the equipment and perhaps the engineering, but also some other items that we may want to include. But yes, it'll be covered by a bond.
I pulled up task one on preliminary design and coordination, so they're agreeing to do these pilot testings and to get our sign off. When you look at our client responsibilities on the last page with the pricing, we're responsible for making the call. They are putting it on us to make the final call on what equipment we want to do, but they're going to work through with our staff and us to provide us with the options.
And that's what the task order is on the agenda for tonight, that we would do our due diligence to move it forward, right?
Yep.
Yes,
As per our engineer.
yes.
Okay. Having said that, I'll make a motion that we do move forward with that task order.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. Is there further discussion on the motion? John, do you have any comments?
Well, just to close up the comments that Grant made, you feel comfortable with the process?
Yeah, we need to see how it works.
Yeah. It's just gonna take us on down the road to see that, yeah.
Just as a further note, there were some of the, we got a cost sheet this last time with a low and a high, and this doesn't really matter for right now, but I just want to point out that there's some costs in here that seem incredibly excessive given the distance from the plant to water line access and power access. We've got for instance, the low end, $20,000 for electrical service extension for this screw press. I can't imagine it's going to cost us $20,000 to run off of that pole that's over by the lot. Same thing with water installations, like $7,000 up to $15,000. Surely we can handle that internally and save a lot of money on that. So just looks like there's some things as we move forward with this, we want to look at some of these prices and see what's going to be a little bit more realistic. It should save us a little bit of money.
Any other comments on the motion on the floor? Roll call, what?
Yeah, I think we need to discuss that part of this money, of course, to be paid with a bond, but the repayment part of the bond is when after we done our last rate study and implemented an increase in rates, and there's a second increase coming in July of this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And we were told that there would be, if projections are met, there would be funds to make that payment on the bond. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to do a bond or a machine or anything else until A, we approve it, and B, it
Yeah,
fits into our
but
fiscal
the point is,
policy.
we're not gonna have to raise the utility rates to make the payment.
No.
It's already,
No, that's in the CI, the
Yeah.
capital improvement plan.
and we don't
as well
have the
as the
cash
bond
flow
loans.
to outlay to pay it out as we go, so. But we're not gonna be back here in 2 months and say we've gotta have a rate increase because of what we.
No, we would have done all our due diligence, and if that's the case, then we probably won't do it. But as you know, the charges that the outside contractor charges, we probably get our money back in a matter of several years. We'll look at that, though, and we won't do anything until it's properly approved. Therefore, a roll call vote on the motion, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. So that does that, John. You're free to go, I guess, based on Nate's request.
John, will you just let us know, or let the mayor know so he can communicate to all of us when that, when they bring up the test equipment or the pilot run on that, please? Thanks. Mayor, if you don't mind just letting all of us know with text or email when that happens.
I will, because I'd like you there for the demonstration, if possible.
Sounds like a
So,
plan.
yeah, John and I meet every morning lately. I'm sure he'll keep me up to date as that progresses. Okay, Planning Commission, I said there's a meeting tomorrow. Beautification and Tree Board. And you can do it from there if you're comfortable, whatever's easy for you.
All right. Just two things. One is I want to make sure everyone is aware, this year is the 250th anniversary of our country. And the state of Tennessee is wanting to be involved in that. So we are looking at ways that we can be involved in that historic thing. The other is we are interested to know if the council has done anything about getting someone to handle social media to help our businesses during the construction on 134.
Oh, the highway construction?
We're concerned that, because of construction, some businesses may not be able to get people in, and we need to make sure that our businesses can still stay in business.
Okay.
So,
Alderman, do you have any comments or questions?
yeah, quickly on that note, we've talked about this in the tourism committee and overall in Imagine Monteagle. This is I think I brought this up at the last meeting, but I think we lump sum, I can't remember the dollar amount, maybe $20,000 or $25,000 to hire a contractor for social media, and that would be for. That is really, it's not just specifically for the next 3 years during the construction. This is overall kind of a tourism effort to get Monteagle a little bit more presence in social media, on social media. If anybody follows Tracy City on social media, they're very good at what they do with their pictures and comments and notes about what's going on and where to go, where to hike and things like that. So this is something that I wanted to bring up as we go through the budget meetings over the next several weeks, or really the next month or so. I will bring this up again to see if we can get a line item put in for tourism, beautification. Well, we already have beautification, but tourism, Imagine Monteagle as a whole, because there's some other efforts that need to get put in there. So I'll be trying to champion that in the next few months with the budget meetings.
All right, so therefore, we have Imagine Monteagle and beautification discussions. Do any of the aldermen have questions on either of those topics?
Just if you're jumping in with Imagine Monteagle, I just have one thing on that.
Yes, you said wait in there, be my guest.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to know, or let everybody know that we did apply for a $25,000 grant from the 10250 funds that are celebrating the state's 250th year. So we applied for a grant a week or so ago. We should find out by the end of February, I think. And this money is for the mural that is planned for the side of the firehouse. I'll give you guys a better update at the end of February on a few other projects and initiatives that we are in the process of creating and funding that are all part of the Imagine Monteagle, and it involves tourism and beautification all in one. So I'll give a better update on that hopefully at the end at our next meeting.
Thank you. Do any of the aldermen have any questions of Martha Ann on the beautification and her report? Well, thank you both. Grant, does that do it for Imagine Monteagle?
It does, unless Nate, you want to talk about the zoning or no?
Well, we are having, we're going to have a conversation tomorrow in the Planning Commission about the downtown zoning. I think we're just about ready to codify it and move it, so it's been a long process. I actually wanted to bring up so that everybody is aware As part of the Imagine Monteagle process, I wrote a grant last year to do tree planting and stormwater mitigation. And so as part of that, you folks are liable to see construction activity around the fire hall and also around City Hall. The Tree Advisory Committee and Beautification Committee, I think we're meeting next Tuesday, and one of the things I'm going to ask them is to finalize where some of those new trees go. But if you do see that activity, particularly around the fire hall, we're going to do some planting and some grass work and try to improve the look of the fire hall and also take care of some of our stormwater issues. So we're not digging up the fire hall, we're just trying to improve it. That's all I got, I think.
At one of the meetings, there was discussion about the regulations of the tree board. I'm assuming under this Imagine Monteagle C1 thing that it was going to apply only on city-owned property.
Yes, and we'll talk about that. So that's under new businesses. We'll talk about the tree ordinance, and we can go through all that.
Okay.
Any other discussion on Imagine Monteagle or the beautification? Okay. I just want to jump to the street department. There have been comments over the years about reflectors and markings the edge of the road, etc. On Laurel Lake Drive, which to me is one of the more challenging roads in town, but there are other roads that need attention as far as reflectors. We're trying a system because sometimes the reflectors in the roads get pulled up either by plow or traffic or weather or whatever. We'll continue to monitor that program, but we're also wrapping some of the poles in key locations on streets with a reflective band that I think T-Dot and Sequatchie Electric have approved. So we're tacking those to the poles. Martha Ann mentioned it in her citizen comments earlier. We'll see if that works and solves some of the problems. There's a better chance of them staying on the poles, in some people's opinion, than the road reflectors in the road that seem to get pulled up one way or another, and not maliciously, just traffic patterns and weather. So that's the update from there. We're doing it as we can. We got an initial order. If that works, we'll order more as needed. But I just wanted you to know that we were addressing that problem best we could. Alderman report. These are reports, not items on old business or new business. Gene, do you have anything?
Yeah, before I get started, back on the reflector thing, is there a schedule of installation for other areas? We're going to...
Yeah, we're picking areas as we go, and it's already started.
I think we should discuss or consider the possibility of making this schedule known to the citizens of Monteagle about their streets. It's kind of like everybody's been watching Nashville and electricity, and nobody knows when they're going to get electricity. And these reflectors aren't as bad as not having electricity, but if every street that people drive on and live on, it's important to them.
Well, there's no reason why they can't contact me at City Hall and tell me their street, and we'll look for it. Some of the trees, we don't put them on trees. Some of the trees are so far off the road surface that it wouldn't make sense to put them there. It'd be a false sky. But if people have concerns about their streets, so far the only one I've heard from is Laurel Lake, but from residents. I'm happy to take those comments and take a look at where we can put them so they do the most benefit. Sometimes we put them at T intersections, sometimes we put them on bad curves. Just depends, each road is different. So
well, I understand that, but I think that we're right in the middle of what I call the fog season, and you know, the people I think are expecting us to make that a priority, and I'm assuming this would be a good time of the year to do it. They're not mowing, they're not weed eating,
and that's why they're doing it.
Right,
We've got the first
there should be an estimate. There should be a project. Estimated completion date, I think, would be a reasonable thing to have.
Well, we're impossible. We ordered the first load, we're putting the first load of reflectors up. We'll see what roads, and the citizens are urged to please contact me at City Hall so I can look at your street, see what works and doesn't work. But we will put them up, and if we need the next batch, we'll get that as well. Because we are addressing it. I can't promise you an end date, because who knows what the future holds in store, but it's an ongoing project that has already started and will continue.
So are you creating that list based on the citizens calling you, or do we have a list together already of
No,
areas that we know?
I'm looking at roads now, but based on Dean's comments, I'm asking any citizen that has concern to contact me. There's no reason why we can't work together. There's no reason why we have to wait month to month to do something. Call me tomorrow. Yes, Martin?
May I suggest that you send out a mayor's memo and ask people to let me know?
Good point, thank you.
Well, it would appear to me we just need to have a schedule of saying we're going to go through A to Z and the most traveled roads and whatever the criteria is, and we're going to get this done.
All right, I'll work on the schedule then.
I think a list is probably more important than the time date. If we're having trouble putting dates to it.
Okay, and
Let's start with a list maybe, and then we can flow in dates as we determine what we need to order.
Fine. Anything else under Alderman report?
Yes, I guess 1 or 2 or 3. Last month, we talked about improving the landing zone for the helicopter. Has anything been done on that, or has the weather got us bogged down?
Both. I authorized the contractor to get the globes that were necessary and the bands around the globes. We're also replacing electrical repairs that are needed, and sometimes the landing light is off its base. We've done some concrete work and a new light. The sock still looks to be good. The concrete still looks to be good, so we're
talking about
improving.
pressure washing it and then repainting whatever
We'll do that, yeah. I want to get the globes and the lights working first.
Okay. School lights, have those been addressed? Are they on a regular time now? Do they still come on at night and on Sundays? Or?
No, it should have been set for weekly use. Sometimes we don't do anything if there's a 2-hour delay. The police car is there. If it's a 2-hour delay, if it's closed, it's on many various news networks.
Yeah, if they call school off, I mean.
But Sundays and holidays in the summertime, sometimes the school is used during the summer and you leave those lights on. So it just depends on the individual use, but they've been looked at and the timer's been set to satisfy the requirements.
And then what city department has oversight over the school lights?
I asked the police department when I know something from either the school or the Board of Education, and then we have a mechanic that's going to show us how to do it, where we can set the lights ourselves.
So that would be like maybe the street department would be doing that.
The street or police, because they get notice probably first if school closes, or school issues.
Oh, okay, you're talking about changing because of
Changing the
2-hour
time, yeah.
delay or whatever. But as far as any regular maintenance, that would not be the police department.
No, maintenance of Marion County usually says that's their lights, and the last time there was an issue of maintenance, they got the contractor and sent them up at their expense.
Okay. And then street lights, we've talked about that a few times over the last year or two, and I think Nate had done some work on that.
I brought you maps.
Yeah, okay. And I'm assuming that is a street department issue.
Yeah, in
I mean, that would be
conjunction,
fall under Keith's jurisdiction.
probably in conjunction with Sequatchie Valley Electric.
Okay.
What poles are theirs, what poles are private, and that was a project Nate worked on, trying to save an electric bill if it was not the city's responsibility.
But do we have a policy of someone actually going out and surveying at night the lights that are not on?
Yeah, from time to time, I've asked the police department, because they're the ones that are out at night, and they see what comes on and what doesn't. And then there's a system where the office will contact Sequatchie Valley Electric with the pole number and location.
Okay. And
So, Dean, if I can interject, so what I just gave you there are maps of every street light that the city used to pay for. The ones that are circled, I believe, have all been removed. So this was before you were on the council, but what we discussed about and never actually voted on as a formal policy, but what I was operating under was this idea that streets are paying for all the lights. So they should provide traffic benefits. And so what I did was I went through and I tried to make sure that we had a street light at every intersection and a street light at every cul-de-sac so that they were lit. We have that, And then we have a whole lot of others that I think have come for whatever reason. And so the ones that have the orange highlighter on them are ones that aren't really clear. They're either in the middle of the road. And I think you and I talked about one when you were just a citizen, about the one in front of your property. And we ended up turning one of them off because there are reasons for security lights, but those don't seem like they should come out of the street budget.
Well, like for instance, on the Monteagle Swanee Highway,
we have more than that.
okay, you pull out the Dollar General and look right, and there's, looks like there's 8 or 10 down through there. There's no intersections there, there's no cul-de-sac there.
So I believe I pulled every other one out there to try to balance the main road ideas. We also, the same thing also happens on 41 as you go to Tracy City. We've got a whole string of them that we pay for. The council at the time was not interested in upsetting a whole lot of people, and I understand that. So what we tried to do was, where we had one that was clearly on private property, I went to them and I said, hey, this is on your property. We had a light we were paying for in Tracy City, and one we were paying out Trussell Road, miles outside the city limits. So those were easy, we turned those off. And then there were others on private property around town where I said, hey, would you mind taking those over? We removed some of those. If the neighbors were okay with it, I turned off some of the ones that were in between city streets. But what I didn't do is, without full council action, I didn't want to go just wholesale turning off people's lights. So there's a lot more that could be done with that if we really want to save some dollars.
I'm not asking for that reason. I'm asking that I guess in our policies and procedures that be designated to a department that we talked about today when we met in our workshop, and we can discuss that later on, because we didn't get anywhere close to being finished on that. And along those lines, the impasse lawyer that I talked to, you talked to her about, and then I talked to her the same day, indicated to me that in order for the alderman to do any of these things, that we must adopt that in the minutes as part of our policy. That basically, if the council does not adopt anything we do, whether it's street lights, if for instance, I asked about us going over budget on items, and her response was that the city can continue to spend money until or if the council votes to cease that. And I wasn't aware that's how that operated. I thought we did the budget and appropriated X number of dollars, say, to streetlights, and then when the streetlights spent that money, no more money would be spent until the council appropriated that. That's not how that works. So basically, the city can spend whatever they want to, and then we have to do a budget resolution balancing it out for the audit. And so I think that's important that in the before our next budget that we change a lot of the policy that will allow the board to see that money is spent the way it was intended or originally projected to be spent.
Well, that's what those line items are per department. It's a guide. It's not a drop-dead budget. It's a guide.
Yeah, that's exactly what that law, she said, and I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying the office of mayor, that you can spend whatever you want to spend, unless the council says, reviews the budget there and says you have overspent in whatever the account is, and that's over.
Well, we'll go over that at budget time, but basically I have spending limits that incorporate the procedures to spend any kind of money.
So according to her, it's conscience.
Okay, so we can go over that.
Okay, can you give us an update on lawsuits? We had 2 or 3 lawsuits pending. We had
The
one.
one I know that's coming up is Unaka and the campsite. That's set for February 18, 19, and 20. The chief told you about lawsuits. concerning the city and the judge, and I don't know of any other offhand. There's one that's in Chattanooga Court, I think, which does not involve the city at this time.
That's the nuisance suit pertaining to the truck stop thing.
Yeah, that's between the truck stop, as I understand it.
The city's not a
We're not
party
a
to
party of that at this time.
Okay, and then Rusty Leonard had filed suit against us on,
I've heard no more on that.
okay,
I went to a deposition of sorts, and I was told not to worry about it till the insurance lawyer contacted me.
okay. And so you've spoken with our insurance company's attorney on all,
Oh, yeah, I
any
appeared.
litigation.
At that deposition, I appeared.
Okay, and we have correspondence from them to the city then.
I don't know if they sent a report. I think they all agreed. It was kind of a arbitration hearing. They kind of agreed to wait until the mediator did some more work. Not make a decision, did some more research.
And do we know anything about, during this last cold spell, about our homeless population, the status of them, were they leave town, or?
No, I don't know. I know that from what I was told, there were 2 or 3 people that made it to the Armory, which was one of the warming shelters, and they were among the homeless population. But other homeless people that I have not heard about.
And then finally, about our flags, I guess the Veterans Memorial, I guess, not the official name of it, but we had talked about honoring our veterans with installing the U.S. flag and then the flags of the branches of service. And we talked about it being located, and no decision has been made, but we have discussed in the consensus of a lot of I've talked to a lot of the veterans and tried to get input from them, that probably the best option is to put it over on the east side of the library. And Johnny Westerfield had a guy that volunteered to do the sketch of the American flag in this, and then I sent a copy of that to Scott. And then Scott, you can tell us how it come about to this point, if you would, as a volunteer.
Well, those are the specific service flags, starting with Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard, and that's the protocol for the sequence they should be in.
Did you draw that?
Well, like she said, Johnny Westerfield's guy came up with the first little, I would have liked to have started all over from scratch, but I didn't really have time. So I just added in the front 6 flags.
Oh, okay. Looks
6
good.
flags, I'm famous.
Someone who can't draw, I was just impressed.
Well, it's just a concept, and you can get on the internet and see all sorts. The biggest obstacle we're going to have is the slope over there. And by looking at how this is drawn in, there's not been a lot of feel from looking at it there. If I'm looking at it correctly on the concept, there'll have to be some, and it's about 200 feet from. If you look out the back door of the building of senior citizens and down on the walking path, if you start there and come around to the parking lot, it's about 200 linear feet that we would probably have to have, or we would need to have a footer poured and French drain system put in to alleviate the water, because it will have to be raised some. I think it needs to be ADA compliant, whatever that slope is on ADA, because a lot of people we think are going to park in the parking lot and then walk down either in the grass or around the trail. But it's about, I shot the elevation from the low side to the grade of the parking lot, I think was 6.5 feet. And that was in 70 feet.
Well, when the time comes, we should look at that professionally. You're absolutely right, but I think when I looked at it with you, we had some concerns about the septic tank and the fill line.
Oh yeah, they're going to be dealt with. I mean, but it's not going to it should not prohibit the project.
Well, don't we move that first before we set anything in place? If we move them.
And probably we need, I think, that building needs to be hooked onto the sewer system.
Well, that's why I say we need to look at stuff before we
And
do a
you
final.
you've got a line that comes from.
I know, yes.
And I'm assuming all that, we can do that in-house, I assume.
And I just want to look at it, so you and I go with the utility people, the grounds people.
Well, and that's
and
going, yeah,
start thinking.
that thing's in your ballpark on the relocation of that.
Yeah.
But it's
So would
certainly.
you, I'm asking you to join me
Oh, yes,
on that
yeah.
venture. Thank you very much.
And I think it would be a simple task. We're going to have Travis Wilson to tell us what we're going to put in a grinder pump at the same
With the specs so forth, that's why it'll be a project before we even get to the flags, is my
Yes,
point.
yes. But I guess, I just brought this up for discussion for the council, is, first thing needs to be done is we need to have an approved location.
I was just rolling around in my head what an approval process might look like. Does design or location come first? Because I think you could go either way. If we wanted to talk about that as a possible location, then getting a design would allow us to do a final design and a location at once.
Well, I feel like our location, it's like, in business, in real estate, they say the three most important things are location, location,
Right.
location. And so, that's the consensus of everybody that's looked. And there's talk about putting it over in front of DeVos on Mountain Goat property, and that would interfere with lots of things. And as far as the best visibility coming in from 135 or coming through town, it is going to be that site, and it is not used for anything since it's been there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking though, because I think all of us have said, that's probably a pretty reasonable location for that. So do you think we need to go through a formal approval process, or do we think we just need to go through a formal design process and then approve the design? I guess I'm not sure.
I would like to see us approve the location.
Okay.
And
then we do sewer
or a
work.
location. And then, the design thing is gonna be, are we going to hire someone to draw up, the design and the location of each flagpole and the grade, and they would spec out any retaining walls and the specifications on that. As far as the cost estimate, for the footer, concrete, everything, no block work coming up, you're probably gonna be, $6,000 or $8,000, just a verbal cost estimate with no specifications to look at. That would use a 4,000 mix, 200 linear feet, 2 feet wide, 10 inches, with 4,000 concrete.
That's fine, and I'm one of those step by step. If we've approved the location, I think we do some design as far as drainage, as far as paths. One of the pluses is it's on the path that circles the park now, as well as visibility from the road. So I think that's a better location probably than anywhere else we can put it, where we have enough room. We had talked about the flags being an arch around the flagpole. That's the design of whatever you all want. My design is sewer plant, drainage, and walkways.
Yeah.
The flag stuff, we can get some military folks that know that. It's usually in order of when they were organized.
Yes.
So Space Command is last, I think. Coast Guard was first, I am not sure of the dates.
Army was first, wasn't it?
Was it Army or Coast Guard?
Army was first. Marine Corps was second, which really was a surprise to me, but apparently the Navy went out of existence for a short period of time and wasn't reinstated until 1794.
All right, well, Coast Guard came in the 1700s,
But
I
Coast
think.
Guard precedence falls back, so they're behind the Space Force.
Well, it'll be easy to move them flags around there for all this built, so.
Yeah, we can do that.
That'll be
All
easy.
I'm saying is that if you've all approved, or you need something to approve the site, my suggestion is we start on the sewer work and do whatever site work has to be done,
So
just to get ready for it.
I'll make a motion then that we agree that this piece of property over here to the side of the east side of the library be used for some sort of Veterans Memorial. And obviously then we can determine what the design will depend on how much it's going to cost to move the sewer, how much, the size of the design we can play with, depending on how much money we have to spend on it. Whether we need to do the full extension of moving the sewer over and then the grading, and also we can design it around the property and see what we need to do. But I'll put a motion on the table for us to approve the location now.
Second.
There's a second to the motion. Any further discussion?
Well, I was going to make a slightly different motion, so Grant, listen to me, let's see if it makes sense to amend it. I was going to propose the same thing, but with the caveat that I was also going to say that the next step should be a presentation to the council of an opinion of probable total cost, along with the scale drawing, and to borrow language from the Planning Commission, this can be a sketch drawing, not a site plan. So I think the council should have something reasonably detailed to look at, but in a citizen project like this, I don't think we need to hire an architect or something like that.
But we are going to have to get someone to do part of this, and I'm assuming the sewer costs and all that, we're going to have to get that from our engineer.
Yes.
And then, and who is going to draw up the sketch, and then do the specs on, what we're doing. We've got some electrical issues. We're going to have electricity run to the flags, and that's not a big problem. The poles are down there. It's just a matter of trenching it and piping it and conduit, and then the fixtures themselves.
So I made my motion assuming that we would get some sort of rendering before we move forward with anything.
I was just trying to lay out the next steps of what that rendering would look like. It may not be necessary. This may just be discussion.
But
I think under Dean's leadership, working in concert with the mayor, we can get you all the information before we spend any money.
well, you're going to have to spend money to get that rendering.
The biggest thing is,
Here to tell you.
I think, to identify the site so the committee can move forward developing the site.
Citizen.
Yes.
I have a question. You're making a decision, or you may be making a decision on location. It seems like that before that is made, that this should come up in discussion with the Monteagle, also the beautification committee, as well as the Monteagle Tree Council. So it just seems like you're making this decision without discussion more globally.
Well, I personally have taken the position that the purpose of this is to honor the men and women that have served our country, and I have gotten a lot of input from those veterans, and that's more important to me than what's going to happen downtown and somebody sitting outside eating cheese and drinking wine. I don't think everything we do has to go before everybody to see what Imagine Monteagle thinks about it, or the tree committee, or anybody else. I think the people elected us to make these decisions. And if you want input as a council member or mayor, feel free to jump in and take your input wherever you want.
Let me go a step further on that. People are always welcome to make comments. I'm in City Hall. You can contact any of the aldermen. We have city meetings, and it seems that the same bunch of people show up. This is something that has nothing to do with the trees or beautification, other than perhaps flowers or pansies that they do from time to time. I think with Grant being Imagine Monteagle, Nate being zoning and looking at this, and a forerunner to Imagine Monteagle, I think that there's been enough input around to identify that site. I think it's safe to say that nobody came up with an alternate use of that site. The slope is an issue, the sewer line is an issue. I think that would be the best location, given visibility and access from the paths, to move forward with it. If it was something like where to put it in the middle of Harton Park or Hannah Pickett Park, I agree with you. But I think for this location there, I don't see us planting trees there. I don't see us doing anything but capturing the viewpoint from the highway, quite frankly, and the accessibility from the walkways.
Yeah, if I can add to that, maybe put a little
Please
bit
do, yes.
different spin to it.
Different.
You know, the Imagine Monteagle and the committees that have come out of that were structured to provide an opportunity for input. And there are a lot of great ideas that are coming from those committees, and I think that's really exciting. But they don't have to be the only place that those ideas originate. And so we've got another idea that's coming from somewhere else that matches the spirit and intent that we've been talking about. I think it's great.
I'm good.
Okay.
And I will say just real quickly, as kind of the chair or whatever of Imagine Monteagle, that would, and I've walked this spot with Dean before too. I think it's a great spot. It kind of matches really well with what we hope to plan to do with another little piece of property right next door here too. So they would actually work well together. So.
Any other further discussion on the motion?
Well, I think last month I was supposed to talk to Werner about hardware. And they said they've got hardware, but most anything they have that they would be willing to give with us is going to need full restoration. But they have an open line of communication with the U.S. Army for surplus equipment. And so they recommended, they said they'd be happy to work with us to find some surplus equipment from the Army that's probably in a better condition to go straight for display. So when we get that far along, we can start talking about that.
In our design specs, we can have some areas that can be modified and used for that from time to time.
Yeah.
Well, some equipment they would want sheltered, other equipment they want out in the weather. But we'll deal with that when we get there. I think we should act on Grant's proposal. If you don't want to, or motion, if you don't want to pass that, then we'll look for another location. I think we've all agreed on the location, quite frankly, just by your comments tonight. So if there's no further discussion on the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Grant. Motion carries. Dean, if you would keep in touch with me, we'll line up utilities and in-house work, et cetera, et cetera.
That's all I've got.
Thank you. Grant, anything?
Just one quick go back. I see John already left. Mary, you may know the answer to this. Last time we talked to Travis Wilson, we were still waiting on the monitors that we had ordered in this task order, the flow monitors.
Yes.
For the system. Have those come in?
Yes.
They have
And
been
installed, and they're working on the reports. That was going to the Grundy Housing.
So those have been installed in the last 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, last week. Weather, as you can imagine, is always an issue, but yes, last week they were installed.
Okay, so we should be getting data from those.
There is concerns about the SCADA and the data. The first draw showed 100 gallons an hour, I think it was, or 100 gallons. I forgot, 100 gallons. So we're looking to refine those readings.
Okay,
And that's
so we
just
should
a
have
computer process.
a month's worth of data for. Assuming these are going to be in place for a little while, so we should have a month's worth of data maybe.
Well,
the next
we bought
meeting.
them, they're ours, so they'll be in place forever. We're not
Okay.
leasing or renting those.
Okay, that's all I had.
Thank you. Dan?
No, I don't want to take up any more time.
Oh, that's all right, I'll put you mind.
Thank you.
Nate?
Is Travis still out there? I thought I heard his voice. I had a quick question for him. If he's gone, I'll go ahead and skip to the other things. If he's back, I'll ask him a question. I was asked to check in with the... Oh, he's not there?
He's not here.
Okay, all right.
What was the question?
The question is whether our fire department is also a rescue squad, because the governor just announced $3 million in funding for rescue squads.
I passed that on to him. He and I are going to meet tomorrow morning. There was something else I think that came from the fire marshal's office, or maybe it's the same
This came
thing.
from the fire marshal's
Yeah.
office. I was asked to check in on the rest areas. TDOT reported that they've had 2 contractors lined up and 2 contractors that have been following through on boring under that line. So they said they're trying to get them back open, but they just haven't been able to get anybody there to actually do the work.
Well, I really think if you go back and ask, I guess ask Travis, since they've been closed, the number of accidents coming up the mountain and going down seems to have greatly increased as far as the fire department responding, and some of those are no injuries, but and then the breakdowns coming up. Every time you come up the mountain, there's something broke down. Where it used to, they'd pull in the rest area, get off the interstate, and then the road service or the wrecker or the ambulance or whatever would go to the rest area. The same way westbound is a lot of them would pull in there, and it kind of acts like a brake check. And I think 3 or 4 days ago there was a 10-car pile up at the Little R curve.
Yeah, there was no indication from them that they were not going to reopen them. The question I had that I did not think of when John was here was someone had mentioned last month that there was a water line on both sides close by, and they might be able to do a second meter relatively inexpensively, but I didn't know enough to talk about it.
I don't think that's accurate.
Okay.
I think they needed their own line with their own meter, and it comes to the end of the railroad bridge by Waffle House. There are several meters and valves there, but I think the state and the town at one time wanted a dedicated line just for them.
Okay. Well,
I don't think anything on the north side of the interstate.
I didn't know. I didn't bring it up, but somebody had mentioned that. Let's see. I was also asked to reach out to MTAS. We were talking about judge evaluation, and what I learned from the MTAS attorney is that our city court judge is supposed to file a report every month with the city hall and the mayor and alderman. Do y'all know anything about that? She said that that was required by law and was a good way to start the process of evaluating the judge. So
Okay, we'll check on that. We get the results of the court cases, but it's not a report from the judge, as I understand it.
okay, the way it made it sound to me was that there was a judge had to file a report every month. So
Okay, we'll check on that.
I think most of y'all maybe haven't heard yet, but Tracy City got the grant that we were working on that includes money to look at a regionalization study. So the next step in that, so this would be hiring a CPA to evaluate the economics of Monteagle as a standalone public utility, Tracy as a standalone public utility, and evaluate those same economics as a single regional utility. They also included money to look in a preliminary sense at Big Creek and Sud, or Swanee Utility District. So with that money in place, the next step is to hire a CPA firm. And there were 2 CPA firms that replied to my request of interest. So I'm going to go to the Tracy City Public Water meeting on the 17th of February, and it's technically their grant, but they want to, I've talked with their board, they want to work with us together. So at some point, probably after the 17th, I'm going to be offering an opportunity for us and the Tracy City Water Board to interview these 2 CPA firms. One is out of Mobile, and I think the other is out of Memphis. And then we'll need to, from that, put together a scope of work. This is a process. I know we talked about doing a rate study. This is a process that will yield a very in-depth rate study for the town of Monteagle, looking 10 years ahead. It'll be a very in-depth rate study for the town of Tracy City, looking 10 years ahead. And then it'll give us some really powerful information about what combining utilities might mean for everybody's service and utilities looking 10 years ahead. So it's an inquiry that I'm excited about. But again, that announcement, they got that grant award last week, so we'll be looking starting the 17th to figure out the next steps on that.
Just so you all understand, it's not costing Monteagle anything other than perhaps time and meetings, but no money. And this is not a 1-month project. This is probably scheduled to go on for a couple of years, isn't it?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's a in progress, in process kind of a thing, and we'll see where it leads.
And it was part of the result of a grant that I wrote last year where several of us in Monteagle and Tracy City and as far out as Big Creek and Swanee have been looking at regional water needs and trying to think long term. So we're gonna, probably in April, be releasing the report of those findings, and those will be for everybody to take a look at, and we're pretty excited. We think we got some good ideas.
Do you feel like this is kind of the direction that TDEC and the commissioner and them, expectations of Monteagle solving its long-term water supply?
Well, the comptroller, when the comptroller came, he visited here, middle of last year. Were y'all there for that? I'm trying to remember how many meetings. We've had so many meetings. He basically said they love the idea that we're looking at this, and if we don't look at it, they're going to force us to do it pretty soon anyway, because this is the way all utility districts are going. It's just not cost effective to keep these tiny little water utility districts going. You have more economies of scale when you put together. And we've been talking for years. We've been talking about our contract with Tracy City now for more than a year, and without going into details that would keep us here all night, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen understand that there are development issues that we have because our sewer and Tracy City's sewer are not the same one. Just by combining them, we would suddenly open up a whole lot more capacity, both for Tracy City and Monteagle. The same is true for water. By working together, we can, as a community, have more and broader and better water resources. So I think it's going to be a good thing. But what this study will do is put numbers behind it, right? And the comptroller is not going to look favorable on it if it's not in the best interest of the long-term ratepayers. And so I think it will be.
Well, I have 2 points to address there. I was talking to an old timer that was involved with politics in Nashville and all that. He said the only solution for water on this mountain is to get it out of the river like they did for Top of the Rock. The town is not allowed or permitted to build a second lake. I went through that as soon as I got into office. There are several issues that I hope that it does lead to a solution, but I think most of the other towns and regionalizations had some kind of body of water to draw from. And that was a passing comment that several that have been there, done that, have made. So that's one comment. And I think the study is a step one. I'm not sure if what happens after that, and we'll see what the numbers are. I'm glad to hear that SUD is involved and Big Creek is involved. I didn't know that before. We're already treating Tracy City sewerage. So to me, we're kind of there anyway. We buy water from them when we need it. So I don't know how much more this will help, but we'll see. And I just want all the facts on the table, because whatever it is, it'll be an independent utility board guiding this regionalization of fees and work and all that sort of thing. So it's an ongoing process that we should look at and study. Any other comments or questions?
That's all I got.
Okay. Under old business, second reading of ordinance 15-25, we've added exceptions to section 1002, subparagraph A. Is there a motion to accept that on second reading?
We didn't read it the first time last
Yeah, I
time.
was gonna say what,
We did it last time.
This is about the sketch plan and,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if not, then we'll set it over for next month.
I thought we sent that back to the planning commission they were gonna delete that number 5 and either add some new language and re-present it to us.
Okay. And it may come at a point in time when we have a joint meeting, be it workshop or called meeting, but I think there seems to be some communication issues between the planning commission and the mayor and all
Well,
that I'd like addressed, so
okay.
I just offer that. Then-
Was this ordinance in our package? It was?
Yeah.
Did they change, well, hang on, look down there and see if they changed anything.
well, I was gonna say,
Let's scroll down.
the footage is still in there, isn't it?
Yeah, no, they didn't.
That was a big issue.
I went back and forth with Jonathan on this. Yeah, nothing has changed. So I think they're gonna present, I think the planning commission's gonna pass it, and then they're going to send it back up to us.
All right, well, put that aside, and I'll check with the planning commission, or if any of you are here tomorrow, feel free to ask. Second reading of ordinance 19-25, offenses against town property. I'll accept the motion to accept on second reading that ordinance.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Offenses against town property, ordinance 19-25. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, first reading of ordinance 20-25, tree and landscape. Is there a motion to accept on first reading that ordinance?
I'll move we accept ordinance 20-25 on first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the motion?
Is this an amended ordinance that we currently have, or is it replacing,
It's
of the landscape?
It's brand new. It only deals with city property.
Okay.
And the reason behind it is it's required in order to become a tree city by the Arbor Day Foundation. So last month, we looked at a draft of it that I went through and I made a few changes that I think are worth noting without taking too much time. This is going to create the first official committee of the town. So, you know, a couple of months ago, we had a conversation, is beautification really a committee? Well, we haven't codified it as a committee. This is going to make the Monteagle Tree Advisory Committee a bona fide committee, meaning that motions coming from that, or a motion could come directly from that committee, require a second. So there are, the membership are appointed by the majority vote of the town council and serve for 3 years. So that's something that if we, as soon as we pass this ordinance, if we pass this ordinance, we'll have to approve the Tree Advisory Council as it is. They'll serve 3-year terms. And then they'll have a job. Within this, it charges them with creating a tree list that we would use to plant trees on public property. So they would need to, we'd ask them to come to us within, I don't know, whatever we say, 30 days, 60 days with that list. And that would be the official list that we would recommend across town, what we would be using on our own property.
If we fail to comply with this ordinance, what's going to happen?
I don't know. So
Well, it sounds like we can't move forward.
it's city employees. We're saying we're not going to do this, but there's not this is not a criminal ordinance. So we're saying we're not going to do it, but I don't think we slap our own hands. As far as, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I just wonder why we would make an ordinance for the only entity that's going to have to go by it is the town of Monteagle. And if we don't do it, there's nothing going to take place.
No, the reason behind it is because we can become a tree city.
The designation of tree
And
city.
becoming a tree city opens us up to a whole series of grant opportunities that we don't currently have. It also helps us with points on things like downtown beautification because they know that we're being proactive about our trees. So.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Any further discussion on the motion to accept on first reading ordinance 20-25? It's been seconded, right? Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have business permits. We have a business permit from Misty Market. We discussed that, I think, under the beer board, but there it is.
I move to approve the business permit for Misty's Market, subject to final certificate of occupancy.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
No, well, not on that, no.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, the motion carries.
Now this is says C-Store Gas with Deli, and then we're going to deal with A1 Smoke Shop, which is in the same location, correct?
Yes.
And there's been
Is the owner
mention,
here?
there's been mention of,
There's been some talk about a restaurant being in there or a pizza service, or what services will be in that building?
I'm working on Chester's chicken, and of course like pizza, like Little Caesar Express.
And how do you do the chicken? Is it a takeout or do you sit down and
No,
eat?
you can take out mostly.
And what about, can I sit down?
You can, yeah. Yeah, we have.
The reason we ask, and this came up with the planning commission, whatever the use of the building is going to dictate the number of parking spaces. So I hope you're here tomorrow to address that.
Yeah.
But we can say that it's conditional on a certificate of occupancy tonight, but tomorrow is going to be an issue, because if it's strictly a takeout, then you don't have to worry about parking per se, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm not quoting any
Yeah, I
laws.
think we got like 21 parkings without counting the guests, so.
Okay, so we need parking for whatever you're going to
Yeah,
use
yeah.
that building for. Okay. I just want to clarify that because it will come up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
how long have you been working on this project, from time of inception to today? How long?
More than a year.
More than a year.
Yeah, it's been 2+ years, I think.
2+ years since.
2+ years, okay. Been a wonderful experience, I guess, in working.
Yeah.
with-
We're ready for it.
okay. Well, I hate that you've been put through some of the things you've been put through, and it's not over. Mayor, it's my understanding that the planning commission is wanting to take some enforcement action potentially over some issue they think on the site plan.
Well, I don't know what enforcement means. They want the site plan cleared up because there's some controversies to location of underground gas tanks vis-a-vis the water line and sewer line. That I've asked for a letter from TDEC saying what are the required distances. The other thing that I've asked for a letter from is TDOT, where they have shown us that they've moved the inbound and, well, the entrance and exit areas over a little bit closer to the existing Shell station. Angular parking and that move may or may not impact the parking spaces required. I don't know that. That's what they're going to discuss tomorrow. That's why I asked the owners to be here to answer any questions they have, as well as their engineer or architect.
Yeah, they're going to be here tomorrow today.
Does the planning commission have the authority to revoke the site plans?
I think so, because they're the ones that approve the site plan.
Okay. So I would respectfully disagree with that.
Okay.
And
I don't know
that
is the
needs to be
long
cleared up,
answer.
but I don't think that the planning commission has any enforcement action on revocation of site plan, building permit, or anything. I think, and in fact, I think Sam Elliott has stated that falls to the building inspector. And I think he has even cautioned us about, as a council, not instructing the building inspector
That's right.
to take any action.
The building inspector is responsible, as he has explained to me, for the construction of the building. He says site plans only, he cannot issue a building permit without an approved site plan.
Right.
If the site plan is not approved, and you're telling me the planning commission does not approve the site plan?
No, I'm saying they have approved it,
But there were amendments, and the amendments have not come before the planning commission.
and then you're saying you're going to ask for those things you talked about asking for, and I don't think it's pertinent to hold up a certificate of occupancy on the things you just mentioned, and you may want to reiterate those. It's my understanding in talking with the building inspector and him showing me the plans that he has done inspections on, and he has made notes and dated those, has initialed those,
He
that
has.
is as-built plans, and that this developer and owner has built it according to the plan that he got his building permit from.
That's the building, you're absolutely correct.
Okay?
We're not talking about the building, we're talking about TDOT approving ingress and egress.
But that's a
At their new
TDOT issue,
location.
that has
That's a-
nothing to do.
Well, that's a TDOT issue, that is part of the site plan, is what they're saying. Now, if it's no, then we'll discuss that tomorrow night.
I don't think there should be a discussion of that tomorrow night.
Well, somebody's got to decide, because obviously, you're telling me I'm not qualified to make those decisions.
Well,
I
the
think
planning commission is not empowered to make those decisions.
Well, who does? Are we going to review site
You
plans?
do it on the front end. You don't wait till they build a building and ask for a certificate of occupancy.
That was part of the problem. The amended site plan did not get to the planning commission before the building was started.
So
That's part of the years gone by. This goes back to changes in Southeast Tennessee development personnel, as well as different boards and mayor and aldermen.
So Andy and I have talked about this a little bit. What is built has some minor variation from the site plan that was approved by the planning commission. In my mind, the building inspector works with the builder
Yes.
and figures that out.
That's right, and the building inspector has approved that. He says there's nothing wrong with the building. It's the right height, the right size, the location. He's got no problem with that. We're talking about gas tanks underground, too close to a water line or sewer line, which I do not know. And TDOT saying, now TDOT has said, from what they told me, and we'll hear tomorrow night, TDOT will approve it. Verbally, they're okay with it, but the town has to approve it. I don't see us not approving ingress and egress, moving it down the road a couple of
Are we going to hold these people up from opening their business because we haven't done our business?
I don't know. I'll
Because
let you
Cheeto
know
has
tomorrow
told us
night.
that till we don't get occupancy from you all, he said, we're not coming in town to do anything.
Who said that?
T-Dot.
Yeah, T-Dot.
They are
And
not
two,
gonna
in all
close.
fairness, T-Dot's probably
Yeah.
gonna chop off everything when they do the bridge work.
The bridge work, so.
So they said, I think they'd approve it if we approved it. That's the last I heard from
Yeah.
T-Dot,
They need letter from you, or after that, the T-Dot said, we come in once we get the letter.
which I'm prepared to work on tomorrow, so that's not the bigger issue.
And the building inspector will issue that CO,
Yeah.
not the planning commission, so.
Oh, yeah, the building inspector.
That's my
is the
question.
CEO.
There's no authority from the planning commission or the city council to prevent the building inspector if he thinks it meets the regulations for him to grant.
He's the only one that can give any kind of permit or CO, there's no question about that.
Okay.
The question is to clarify these things, so at least we have some kind of record of what was as-built and what was what. That's all we're trying to
And
do.
we
is
have those on
make up-
all these other projects we've done?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
because
think
we're
we should
starting
see
to,
those.
well, we're starting to refine that, where we have checklists from Southeast Tennessee Development, and we have a way of tracking what went where, when, and who signed what. Because that's
So
just
all
as
that's
important that
available
we
for us now?
monitor. Do what?
All that's available for us now on these past projects?
I don't know about past projects, I'm talking about now moving forward. Past projects could go back 20 years.
Well, let's just go back 2 years.
Oh, well, we'll look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Danny, I got a question on that. I thought it was up to the engineer and TDEC for anything besides the building.
I don't know, used to, when the site plan was approved, if you violated your site plan, with putting your building on setbacks, entrances and all that, then I would assume the building inspector would issue you a stop work order. And that's what they have for enforcement, our enforcement power, is you're not building the building according to where it's supposed to be. But I don't think the city council can revoke your certificate of occupancy or refuse you to have one granted from the building inspector. That's not the criteria the building inspector would use.
All right, if we may, let's stay on subject here. There's a business permit application for a smoke shop at the same location that we've been discussing. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Subject to certificate of occupancy being issued.
Okay.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So did we do the chicken? Should we vote on that? Say what? Oh, so there's no permit for chicken, okay. Moving on, Andy Bagenstas, Monteagle Mountain Market.
Thank you, Mayor. Here tonight on behalf of the South Cumberland Chamber of Commerce to give you all an update about our mountain market. This past year was very successful. We had 64 vendors as opposed to 41 the year before, approximately a 50% increase. The other thing that we had an opportunity to do is to highlight with our expo and our businesses throughout our community. We gave them a free opportunity to do that. Earlier, I heard though that there was some concern about advertising for our businesses and Imagine Monteagle and what can be done about that. Just want the board to know that every day the Chamber highlights 2 businesses within our community every day. And that includes from Altamont to Pelham to Monteagle, and that's why we changed our name to the Tennessee South Cumberland Chamber of Commerce, to be all-inclusive. So I do want the members of the board here tonight, as well as the citizens, to know that our chamber is also doing some things. One of the neatest things that I've been a part of this past year is I was a part of the chamber 30 years ago. 30 years ago, we were lucky to have 50 members. When I got on last January, we had 9 members. Today, 191 members from all over our mountain. And I'm very proud of that, and I think you all at Monteagle should be proud of that because it is the gateway to our South Cumberland.
So let me interrupt, just for a second for clarity. When you say you highlight 2 a day or 2, whatever it is, how do you do that?
We do it on social media
Okay.
as well as our website, so we do it a number of different ways.
Thank you.
But tonight, I'm on the agenda about our mountain market. And the reason why I wanted to be on our agenda is because there were some discussions over the past few weeks that tourism may take over the mountain market and or
Imagine Monteagle, that group of folks. Jim Harmon represents the chamber, who is on Imagine Monteagle, does us a great job. We appreciate that opportunity to have a chamber member part of those conversations, quite frankly. This past year, it was a success for us. In years past, it hasn't always been a success. Certainly there are things that we can do to change, to make it even better than what it was this past year. The number one mistake that we've always had, where it's always been an issue, is rain. When it decides to rain, you can't do anything. Except for this year, we chose to buy tents. When it comes to money, how much money did the chamber put in? We lost $18,000 last year. So for tourism, if tourism would like to come in and help us, we would absolutely welcome any partner, as well as you all, to help us make this a better event. At the time, I asked our mayor, are we good to go for an additional year? At the time of the mountain market, the mayor said we were. So after hearing the discussions that I've heard that perhaps there was another group that wanted to take it over, I attended Imagine Monteagle meeting to make sure that there were some discussions and not just taken from the chamber, and it's been the chamber's for the whole time, for all 67 years. The chamber helped over at the Monteagle Elementary School, and then we took it over as the chamber many years ago. It should not go anywhere else but here. So what we've done is we've already started. We've already started marketing the mountain market. We have put it in a regional magazine that goes all over the Southeast. We have spent dollars, lots of dollars in marketing. Currently we have about 20 vendors 6 months in advance. Certainly that was not the case last year. If there's anyone in this room that would like to participate, we welcome all. Anytime you all want to come and help, we would love to have that opportunity as a Chamber of Commerce. So my question tonight is, we are willing as a chamber to continue to put on the mountain market, and we would like to continue to do it here in Monteagle, maybe. But with that being said, I need a commitment from our aldermen before we continue to spend dollars and cents, which we've done a lot of up to this juncture to prepare. I need confirmation that you all will allow us to use city property for the mountain market in 2026. And that's what I'm requesting tonight.
And that's your requirement. See, meeting where we've always had it, here at Hannah Pickett Park?
Yes, sir.
And I think you had some across the street, some parking, but you negotiated those sites.
We did. In fact, Nate helped us negotiate that with the new owners of DuBose. Certainly we understand there's communications and talks about maybe beautifying that area over there. Last year, one of the issues was parking. We all know that parking within our community is tough. A lot of the cars went down the road and parked next to the walkway. Some cars parked down here in the field where the old flea market was. Obviously, we have a new business there, so there went some parking. Is that going to be an issue for us? Absolutely. But it's something that folks in this room can help us with. We're willing to help and have those conversations. But no matter what, we want to continue to have the market here in Monteagle at Hannah Pickett Park and advertise as such.
Understood. Alderman, comment?
At that meeting, I guess it was the Imagine Monteagle thing, there was some people talking about they didn't like the name on the banner or something.
Yes, in fact, for many, many years, it's been the Monteagle Mountain Market. But we've noticed throughout our communities, and all 9 communities here on the South Cumberland, we have organizations that are partners, right? And we want to be partners with not only Monteagle, but everyone on our community or throughout our communities here on the mountain. So we did away with just Monteagle to include Tracy City, to include Sewanee, to include Altamont and Bersaba and Pelham. Those are part of us as well here in Grundy County. For those of you that are from Grundy County, we need to help recognize those folks. Those folks have an opportunity with the chamber and with this mountain market to come down and show off their businesses. If we are concerned about our 191 businesses, this expo that's held here in Monteagle is a wonderful way to do that.
So I don't think the name Monteagle Mountain Market, which has been around for a long, long time, it was never stated or set in that people from Altamont and other parts of the county and the mountaintop couldn't come. They all participated every year. It was the host, the name Monteagle Mountain Market was because we were hosting it. And I don't believe, I have not been here for 67 years, but I don't think the chamber was around 67 years ago. So this has been a Monteagle event for a long, long time. And then the chamber at some point, I think in the 90s or maybe somewhere in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, the chamber kind of took it over and stuff. So I just want to set that straight, that this has not been in the chamber's hands for 67 years.
No, it's not.
To my
That's
knowledge.
correct.
So, okay, you stated that, I just wanted to make sure. So the other thing is, again, the part of the name thing was Monteagle is hosting this. We have for 67 years. It has been in Monteagle, and that's why we wanted our name in there as part of the thing. That doesn't mean that it doesn't represent every vendor, every community, or anything across the mountain. I think and we talked about this in a little bit in the meeting, it doesn't make sense for Monteagle right now to take this over from you guys and just say, you guys go away, we're going to take it from here. You've done a lot of work. You've already done a lot of work for prepping this. And what I think we had talked about is maybe a better coordination between a representative of the city or representative of our tourism and or Imagine Monteagle board, being a little bit closer, having a little bit closer coordination with what goes on. I think there was a feeling, can't speak for everybody, that I think there was a feeling last year that we didn't have enough input on some of the changes that were implemented, that we felt like we should have maybe had a voiced it. And if that's our fault, then I'm sorry. But so I think what we came out of that meeting was talking about, let's coordinate a little bit better. You guys can continue running it certainly for this year, and you guys do a lot of great stuff with the marketing part of it and contacting vendors and all, and that's great. But I think we probably need a little bit better the city felt like they needed a little better representation than we had in the past,
Certainly tonight, we're offering that up. But likewise, I like two-way streets. So imagine Monteagle, the chamber would like to be represented there as well. And so I think probably to have a two-way street, there needs to be more open communication with all organizations so that everyone can participate and everyone gets their input and everyone has a say. That should be absolutely the case. As far as us doing it again this year, really there's only one question. The South Cumberland Chamber of Commerce is going to hold a mountain market. We would like to do it here in Monteagle, Tennessee. If you all wish for us to do it, we're asking your permission to utilize Hannah Pickett Park, which it has been done so for many, many years. That's our request tonight.
Just to be clear, well, Andy, you said that we don't have representation on the Imagine Monteagle board, but Jim Harmon is there as an ex officio because he's a member of the board. I reached out to the executive director and said, we want to have somebody from the chamber.
We didn't find that out, Nate, until months after. In fact, we had no idea that Jim was on Imagine Monteagle.
I'm sorry, that's an internal issue that you guys have.
It could very well be, as far as he was not a member at the time. Once we learned he was part of Imagine Monteagle, I went to him myself and said, would you be a member individually? Because we didn't have an opportunity to be on Imagine Monteagle. So when I had an individual, I was never asked.
I called your executive director and I said, we would like a representative. Can you nominate someone for us?
And hopefully they did that, and Jim Harmon filling that.
They did.
Excuse me.
Who was the executive director that you spoke of?
It was the one who's not here now. I don't remember his name, but he was.
John Payne?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And he's not been here for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Great. So now we fast forward to now, and I think that's the issue at hand.
Okay. If I can ask a quick question, do you anticipate, not looking at yourself, another $18,000 deficit?
I think it's the chamber's money to give the chamber members something for their money. And I think that we hope to have not that deficit, but if we do, I personally took on $5,000 of that deficit myself, and I'm willing to give that back to the members of our community that have stood here in the fog with me in Monteagle and have conducted business.
But, okay, let's just talk about bookkeeping for a second, and it's not mine to decide. Are vendors paying what they pay at other locations? Are you getting as much money as is fair to everybody?
We're probably getting less because we have some room that we need to show the vendors that we're going to do better. There's been years that we have not done as well as we could.
Understood.
So as opposed to raising the rate for those, we want to give them something and show them something and show them how it can be
For
done.
that. I understand. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that because you mentioned it. I think it's an important point for any organization to lose money every year. Could be a challenge one day.
Absolutely, it can be a challenge. I think anytime you enter commerce and business, you're taking a risk.
Absolutely.
I don't mind at all making a motion to allow you guys to use Hannah Pickett Park. What kind of bothers me about the conversation before and the conversation now is that you're kind of threatening us with, we'll take it somewhere else if you guys don't cooperate. And
Certainly not a threat.
that's one of the, I'm sorry?
It's not a threat, it's just the facts. If we don't have a place to be in Monteagle.
Yeah, I just
then we
don't
have to
like
go
being held
somewhere else.
hostage to something like that when this has been the Monteagle market for 67 years until the last
I
hour
understand.
things.
And we want to be all inclusive.
So that's
here.
why I
hope
think
you
we
do
need
as
to
well.
have a little bit better cooperation with this, and so that we're not being threatened that this is going to be pulled somewhere else.
There's no
because
threat here, council member. What this is certainly asking for your approval. I would also ask, is there any birthday parties? Is there a permit that needs to be required or acquired to operate or to hold a function back over here? If I want I don't know, a reunion, a class reunion, do I need to come here and buy a permit, or can I go over here and have my class reunion?
Depends if you're in the facility.
If we're using, correct, if we're using water, we're using power, right? So if we don't want to use water and we don't want to use power, is it necessary to ask permission tonight to use public property?
But to book it, so there's no conflict with me deciding to have my birthday party over there, right in the middle of the mountain market. And so in the past, I think, they call City Hall, and it's stated that it's for those dates, they want to bring in other groups or parties or
So now that I know the rules there, Ms. Debbie, do you mind to put our calendar dates on this agenda that you have? So the dates are,
Okay.
Yeah,
So your
we've already
birthday
got
party
it.
was an example.
but before I leave and y'all vote on this, I do want to tell you one more thing. The Taste of the Mountains coming back from Monteagle. It's going to be held at the Armory. Years ago, it was a very nice event that has been held here that identified and highlighted our businesses. We look forward to that. It will be on Tuesday, March the 3rd. There will also be a Meet the Candidates. This is an election year, so we hope that those candidates will be there to tell us what their platform is and to tell us how they're going to support businesses throughout our communities. So we're very excited for that. You can read on social media about that. And yes, we're excited, Nate, to have Jim Harmon on there. We will certainly utilize him more and more. And certainly, if you all are asking for more cooperation, council member, we would do that. We want to do that. We want to work with you. But on the same hand, we don't want to come to a meeting where you all are trying to take it from us either without ever calling us and asking us being in the room and you asking what the blowback's going to be. You never called and asked us anything. What you were going to attempt to do is you had it on the agenda to take it from us.
Now, it wasn't my meeting, first of all, so.
When you were there.
I was there, yes.
And you're the chairman of the Imagine Money.
I'm chairman of the Imagine Money.
Perfect.
This is a
So if we could have a
tourism
roll call vote,
beautification.
I'd appreciate it.
Wait a minute. We're all God's children. Alderman, are there any other questions? Okay.
I would like the full council to recognize that the mayor just slowed the meeting down.
That's
and
right.
asked for deliberation.
I'd like that recorded in the minutes for NBC, CNN, and anyone else. Therefore, is there a motion to grant permission to the Chamber of Commerce to use Hannah Pickett Park for their Mountain Market and First Annual Business Expo?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
What?
No, he
No,
said he said he would be willing.
He's not
They would be
opposed
willing.
to.
I'll second that.
So Dan made, Grant seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I just have a final question, Andy. So, how does this communication better occur? So it sounds like we didn't effectively communicate why Jim was on the board and sort of how that worked.
Excuse me. Yes, can you answer that?
I was just going to say, better communication. I just need to know who you guys would like to be in communication with me.
Yeah,
I'm the one
I think we need to
that's
designate a representative.
That's what I was bringing up. Do you guys have a planning committee? Is there some way that we could get?
She's our executive director.
Okay.
Misty Anderson lives out in Greeley Logger, has been with us now for about a year. And she would love to be a part of that. We have other members such as Scott Pilkington here tonight. I'm sure he would certainly like to be a part of that. And there's others throughout our board that would participate at your willingness.
Well, I was,
As far as communication and how to
Yeah,
get this back and forth, I assume your communication is Miss Debbie here at City Hall, or do we need to go to Imagine Monteagle?
We need to find a representative, either from city council or one of the committees that's going to work with her to.
Do you have a suggestion?
I don't have a suggestion right now.
Can you give me a suggestion?
I can give you a suggestion, but not right now.
Let's do that, and then we will be in touch with your executive director and take it from there.
so you're doing it as a one-woman show. There's not a committee working with you per se.
Well, technically, I do a little bit of a committee. It'd be this gentleman, these two gentlemen, or
Okay.
Creed Kim and Mr. Angelo.
Okay. So it sounds like Grant will find somebody. Okay.
And we have 5 individuals as far as that run the chamber on a day-to-day basis. There's 5 paid employees that do that.
Okay. Martha Ann?
I have a nomination. Linda Brookhart said she would be glad to be that person.
That'd be wonderful.
Well, we'd have to run you through the FBI, CIA, NSA, and all that, but does the council have an objection to that volunteer?
I would move we approve her as the member of the city side in dealing with the chamber.
So what do you want to do?
I make a motion that we accept her volunteer.
Does it need to be official?
I think it does, because what happens is, next year or year after, this isn't the first rodeo with these chambers coming and going. There's probably 6 or 8 in the last 30 years. And they cycle in and out, and then when they're in, everything's going pretty good, but then all of a sudden, it's like they leave town, and then everything's dropped, and there's no notice.
Well, Dean, my family's been here a long, long time. I don't believe I'm going anywhere as far as...
Well, one of these days you are, but...
Well, maybe. I hate to see that.
I'm just saying, historically, about the chamber, there's been many chambers of commerce, and it's always been, seems like it becomes a politics get involved in it, and sometimes that causes the demise of the chamber.
I think in the past, it's really been about the money. $100 don't go very far. $100 gets you about $5,000 when you got 50 members. So that's been the issue. It's always about the money, right? For all of us in the room.
Wait. So is that a motion that you
Yes, sir.
make? Is there a second to that motion?
I mean, we never voted on the first. We had a motion on the floor that was seconded.
That was what?
That
That
was
will give
to approve
permission.
the site for,
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote on it? I apologize. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Now I understand Mr. Lay has a, what?
That we approve this lady here as the volunteer representative from the city to work with the chamber on the, I guess, communications is the primary thing, isn't it? That's what we talked
Is
about.
that as you understand it?
And we'll also try to have a chamber member here moving forward from tonight on. We'll have someone here as well to help.
That would help.
Yeah, I think that would be very
And your name,
beneficial.
please?
Linda Brookhart, Brookhart.
and you're going to communicate with Martha Ann and the Beautification and Tourism Committees
Absolutely.
to get the, and that's how it gets back to us. Okay, that works great.
And she's
Thank
on,
you for volunteering.
she's on both of those committees.
Okay, now I think we have to vote on this. Is there any further discussion on the nomination? Has it been seconded? Oh, who seconds Dean's motion? Who?
Dan.
Dan did. Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Condolences, either way.
Okay, Mr. Gautier, I don't see him any longer.
I talked to him a couple hours ago. He said he withdrew his concern.
Thank you very much. We talked about the grant and that and that.
Well, that was fast.
The drought plan. We didn't do the CDBG? Oh, CDBG grant. One of the requirements of the grant is that there is a public meeting. That public meeting was advertised and discussed. It was conducted by and called by and organized by Southeast Tennessee Development that handled the total picture of that grant. At the time, we thought that we would need another community input, and that's why it made it to the agenda. Does anyone have any comments about what is called a Community Development Block Grant, CDBG? The town has the right to express where they think some money should be spent to do some things. In all honesty, and as those of you that have been here a long time know, we're always talking about water and sewer. We are leaning towards making this next grant for water line extensions and other water issues. And we find that as they go and see what the guidelines are. But is there anyone else that has any comments? Thank you. We're doing the best we can with block grants, because those of you that know grants, you have to do what they say and be pretty specific and all that sort of thing. So I think it's fair to say we feel that's the best approach at this time, is water line extensions and treatment.
Improvements. Not necessarily extensions as much as improvements.
Improvements or whatever needs to be done with the water line.
We can apply for up to $1 million.
Yes, within the grant guidelines.
Right, and it's 15% local match.
They were going to get back to the other match, it might be a little less.
Well, I think she quoted,
she said 15.
Yeah.
But I'm understanding that there might be a little less depending.
and we are restricted on what you can choose.
Yes.
We had workshops, and the workshops are open to the public.
It's
I
not
personally feel like the water improvement thing has been non-existent, basically because of the cost. And we have many areas that are underserved by line size, pressure, volume, and I think we can greatly improve the paying customer on what they should be getting,
right,
as opposed to what they are getting.
And we'll work on that through the grant. Do we have to approve the drought plan? The drought plan is something that is required for the area. It's required by TDEC. It was created a long time ago by Tracy City and Big Creek. Monteagle signed on to it a long time. This is the revision with the new numbers and everything that Big Creek was in charge of, and amended it for us and Tracy City. So I'll accept a motion to accept the drought plan as submitted by Big Creek, including the town of Monteagle.
I move to approve the drought plan as submitted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The drought plan is accepted. I'll let TDEC know that. I have no other further business to remind you.
We entered the CDBG grant. I thought we had to do a resolution on this so that she can move forward because of the timeline.
We have. Oh, okay. We don't have a resolution.
Well, we just have to
pass on.
choose what we're gonna.
Oh, and then let her know?
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah, I was going to let her
She
know.
will do the application then, and they have to hire architects or engineers or whatever.
I think that would come up after we told her that we approved it.
No, she needed a resolution from us to move forward, so, because of the timeline that she's got to go find a contractor, get the design information, and then
Then
apply
will you
the
make the
grant.
appropriate motion? That wasn't my understanding. I thought it came later, when
No.
we had time, but.
I'm ready.
All right, if we do it now, do it now.
Council to determine
Be-
which project to apply for.
Be it resolved that the mayor and council of the town of Monteagle are in support of pursuing a CDGB grant for the purpose of improving water and sewer infrastructure throughout the town.
You can't do both. Water.
Yeah, it's got to be one or the other.
Well, water infrastructure throughout the town.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
But before we do that, throughout the town or throughout our service area?
Service area.
Second.
Please amend my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion on the motion?
Roll call vote.
You ask for a roll call vote?
Yes.
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 I don't know. Yes. Anything else?
Is it too late to amend that motion? I want to make sure sorry. Wait, generally with these grants, we also have to, in the resolution, be willing to cover the match.
Yes.
So may I amend my motion? We'll have to go through the process again, to include that the town will be willing to cover the match believed to be 15% or less.
Terms and conditions of the.
Terms and conditions
Yeah, you
apply.
have to meet the terms and conditions anyway. Okay, I need a motion to rescind your previous motion.
Well, that's an amendment.
Yeah,
That's an amendment. Somebody just
The
endorsed
motion
my
was already
amendment.
voted on. You
Well,
can't,
let's start over. It's okay.
it'll take 2 seconds.
I'll make a motion to rescind Nate's
Thank you, is there a
great
second?
stuff.
I'll second.
Thank you, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there a new motion?
All right. Be it resolved, that the town of Monteagle, Mayor Alderman will pursue a CDGB grant for water improvements throughout its service area. And further resolve that we will agree to cover the match requirements of 15% or less as determined by the final grant award.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we need a roll call vote? Oh, okay. Aye.
Mayor, what about our workshop today? We didn't,
Wait, there's one other item.
oh, I'm sorry.
Are we doing this one? You have received in your packet the franchise agreement. We have an
Ben
agreement
Loman.
also, wait a minute, with who?
Ben Loman.
No, Ben Loman, who's the other one?
We have one at Charter.
With Charter as well. Just wanted to give you that background. So, are we accepting this franchise agreement, basically extension that we've had where we get money from Ben Loman for those participants?
What's it based on, and are we receiving the maximum allowable franchise fee?
I don't know, I believe we're receiving whatever's in their formula, and I'm not sure that's subject to negotiation, but they're paying fees, and I'm sure a touch of this goes to the FCC, et cetera, but I don't know that.
So are we leaving any money on the table?
That's my question. What is Charter paying for this same service?
Well, they may not have as many customers as Ben Loman, or vice versa.
Well, no, but this contract is per connection.
Okay, we don't have that information at this point.
But they're asking us to approve this, saying we're extending what we approved previous.
Right.
Yeah, and the law may or may not have changed to allow us, like 911, sometimes they allow them to go up on the monthly charge, for cell phone use or whatever. I mean, it may not have changed, but it could have changed.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
Is the world going to end if we don't approve this today, or can we do some research?
Is there a due date?
I'll make a motion to table.
I second that motion that we table it and do some research.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll call Ben Loman and figure out what we can do. We can't do. Is that everything? Okay, what was your comment about the workshop?
Yeah, we had a workshop today on personnel policies and procedures and stuff, and of course you had to leave, and Grant didn't want to talk about it no more. And can we continue that meeting, or do we have to advertise for
No,
another?
We can continue that meeting, which will be February 9th,
Okay.
Wait,
9 o'clock.
February 9th, isn't that when we're doing the budget?
Well, if we have to adjust the schedule of the workshops to comply with that,
I
that's
don't
fine.
think that'll work.
Why not?
I think we need a separate one. This is probably going to be a couple-hour discussion. But, and I was going to, sorry.
Well, then we'll bump everything. We'll continue that, and then we'll do the budget the following week. Whatever you want to do, all I'm saying is, we've got to get to this.
Well, I just want to make sure we're in order.
Okay.
With what we do.
What if we, would everybody be willing to have another workshop in between, or in addition to the one on the 9th?
We can do it the 10th after the bond meeting.
We have one before it on the bond meeting. You,
Do we have one?
in a long email thread that you and I had last week, you told me we do not have one on the 9th.
Correct.
So we could schedule one for the 9th.
Is that Monday?
That's Monday.
Yes.
Not a good day for Debbie. Okay, the 9th's out.
For me, I may be out of town.
Okay, well, we can Mary, you can figure out a time when we can do this, and if you want to add it to another meeting, we'll just need to let, all the councilmen need to know that this is kind of.
So what you're
be a little bit
saying is
long.
you want to extend it
Can we continue, like
without
we were
calling another
meeting,
meeting?
yeah, we were meeting and we
Well,
had
that's what I
three
said. I
there,
think we
and then
can
the mayor was
continue that.
called out on emergency, and then,
Left two.
yeah, Grant and I didn't
Didn't have a
think.
quorum.
Right,
Well, we couldn't do what needed to be done,
Right.
right, it's just the two of
yeah,
us.
right, we need the input, and so my question is it like we recess that workshop and we can reconvene that
Should be able
by
to.
giving notice, publishing it? Debbie, you could publish it at, like the post office and,
Yeah, I can put it on the website, I can put it on Facebook.
I mean, I don't want people to think we're having a workshop, illegally advertised, or not unadvertised workshop.
We can do that, then let's do it. We'll continue today's meeting on the 10th. No, wait,
MTech 2 on the 10th.
MTS, what?
Monteagle Tree Advisory Council
Yes.
meeting at 2 o'clock on the 10th.
Yeah, that's why I said this meeting would be 9 o'clock. But,
We already have a meeting for 9 o'clock on the 10th.
And it's gonna be a timely thing, we may have to do it in 2 meetings, but now, that's the holy grail of, the town.
And this could also determine some budget items that we'd be talking about
Yeah,
over the
that's
next
why I
couple
think-
weeks as well, so.
okay, so we had it today, a week from today is the 9th, so we need it on the 10th.
We've already got 3 city meetings on the 10th.
We have a workshop on the 10th, don't we? Okay, so why can't we continue today's meeting on the 10th?
Because that,
We already
the
have
things
it.
that need to be covered on, we don't have time to do the things that need to be covered on the 10th and this, and the other
But
meeting.
to Dean's point, if we're continuing the meeting, why can't we continue that meeting on the 10th and just bump everything up a
Oh,
week?
you're talking about setting, what the 10th meeting was.
Bumping the 10th meeting.
Setting it
Oh,
forward.
the 10th for, yeah, and continuing this meeting of today to the
I don't
10th,
care,
and then bump the
whatever
10th
y'all
to the
wanna do.
17th.
So that pushes the budget meeting out a week?
Yes, into March, which we allow time for anyway.
That works for
Because
me.
the budget will need 2 readings before it gets sent to the controller.
Okay. I would ask all the aldermen and the mayor to go through the ordinance that is, that's the personnel ordinance. I can't remember the number of it. I don't have it with me. It's been, Dean passed out one a couple months ago, and I think Debbie had one in one of our packets. It's the ordinance that deals with personnel.
Debbie, could you send a digital copy of that out?
Ordinance number 10-23.
10-23, I would ask for all of you to redline it with concerns that you may have, and how we want to rewrite that, because the meeting is going to go through kind of paragraph by paragraph, everybody's red lines, and we're going to amend this or rewrite it, edit it, for whatever the final outcome is from everybody.
Sounds like fun.
Okay, anything else?
I know we just want to keep this meeting going forever, but in between things, I've been doing a little bit of research, and so for Andy's issue with the site plan, I would refer everyone to section 1201 and sections 1202 in the Monteagle zoning ordinance. They pertain to administration of the ordinance and the enforcement officer, and it says that unless otherwise designated by the Monteagle Town of Mayor and Alderman, the building inspector shall act as the enforcement officer, and says he enforces all provisions of the zoning ordinance. So not just the building, that would be site plan as well.
And that's a zoning ordinance?
Yeah, that's section 1202.
Of the
That's
zoning
section
ordinance?
1202 of the zoning ordinance.
Are you going to be here tomorrow night, Nate?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible for the information on the drought, what's going to be done, put on the website or something so that citizens can see what's going on?
I can, honestly, it won't make a difference because as each town cuts back, they cut back proportionately. Basically, Big Creek sends to Tracy, Tracy sends to Monteagle. If Big Creek has to cut back 10%, then the others are cut back 10%. And it talks about the different phases, which may be the most important of what you can do in phase 1 declaration, phase 2, phase 3. So, yeah, I can put it on the website. It'll just be in the drop-down, and I'll refer to the mayor's memos. Thank you, that's fine. Anything else for the good of the order?
We're still 25 minutes shy of our record.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Why, Grant? Is there a discussion on that? Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
You want to stay a while to discuss it, or what do you want to do?
To do discussion on the motion.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Have a lovely evening.